You know, I'm always searching for titles that will trigger you. And when I say God isn't love, what I mean is that God isn't only love. God is also darkness. You know, I really like to think about the yin and yang symbol, right? It shows that inside the dark, there is a dot of light. And inside the light, there is a dot of darkness. And they cannot, you know, they have to come together. They exist one with the other. They complete one of the other. And I got a really good example of that. And maybe, you know, if we take something like this and imagine that there's a dark room and there's one point of light inside that dark room, okay? And the more you come closer to the light, the bigger your shadow is. And the further you are from the light, the smaller your shadow is. This means, let me explain the metaphor, that the more light you have, the more challenging your darkness is going to become. And this is why you see a lot of mentors and a lot of gurus. Suddenly, you know, you find all these different things about them, that they harassed women and they're actually materialistic, and that they lie about themselves and they pretend and they have a bigger ego than most people, and all these type of things. Why? Because they have to deal with a lot more. Same thing with celebrities, by the way. But let's go back to the subject. God, we like to humanize things because we cannot think outside of the human box, right? For example, we think that our imagination is unlimited. But what if I told you to imagine a smell that you've never smelled? Or imagine a color that you've never seen before? Okay? You will get stuck because you can't. We're limited. It's even hard for us to imagine a timeless state. So when we think about God, creator, created the universe, what happened before that? So he created time, but when did he create time? You know? And then we get stuck. Again, why? Because we have this limitation. The only way to know beyond that limitation is to practice deep meditation, to take different substances that open our mind and different opportunities and ways of thinking, you know, and get that clarity of mind. So we humanize God. And what does that mean? God is angry. The Creator is angry with us, like in the Bible. You know, God is love, God is gentleness, God is loves you unconditionally. We use all these words that only exist in the dual and the 3D world. Okay? But our real self, the one that is in front of you, the one that is present, the one that is deep and profound, the higher self, it exists without a word. It exists by a simple inner knowingness of who you really, really, really are. And you are here, and I love saying this, to learn what you are not. God cannot teach you what you are because you already know what you are. So you came here to experience what you are not. You came here to challenge yourself. And you think that there's a direction, but there's no direction. In the beginning you think, yes, personal development, up, more. I am more than what I used to be. I am more than this and this person. I am less superficial. I've released my ego and my materialistic way of thinking. But there's no direction. A cat and a dog don't have a direction. A human being can have a direction, but again, that direction is the same way of saying God is love, God is light. God is everything. One cannot exist without the other, right? There's a contrast to be understood here, especially in the dual existence. So when we try to imagine creation and the energy of creation and our source, we always think about it as something that is divine, something that is above us, but actually it's the hell that is below us as well. The human journey, the human suffering that is mandatory right here in the 3D world. And we have to surrender to that suffering. The suffering actually is the not remembering who we truly are. Because when we remember who we are, when we are sleeping, when we are meditating, when we take ayahuasca and she shows us who we truly are without the avatar, without the ego self, then we remember and we are in perfect love and harmony and everything kind of works out, synchronicities and downloads and information and stuff like that. But when we don't, when we are in the beta waves, when we're working and obligations and judging ourselves and looking for material possession and more money and me, look at me, who I am, you know, our ego is like exploding and stuff like that, we cannot enjoy that type of light. But we are remembering and learning what we are not. Because this is not who we are. We are something completely different. We are a part of that creation, divinity, non-dual, okay? And again, there's no direction in non-dual. There's no only love. We are love and we are hate and fear together. We are mixed, you know? You can be 99% of something, but you're still 1% of that. So evil here, which is a reflection of who we truly are as well, is here to teach us, again, what we are not and what God is, because God is all of creation. And all of creation exists. And if something exists, it has a purpose. If it wouldn't have a purpose, it wouldn't exist. It would be non-existence, because non-existence, like Bashar likes to say, is already full of all the things that don't exist. So if we exist, there's a purpose for us. And if we do exist, we can be light, we can be darkness, but usually we are mishmashed, one with the other. So therefore, when we say thank you for God or creation, we should be grateful for the bad things that happen as well as the good things that happen. Because we couldn't have been who we truly are. We wouldn't. They love us so much, creation loves us so much, that it allowed us to experience separation from itself in order for us to learn again and remember again through a journey of suffering who we truly are in a place of darkness, which again is a type of perspective of what you want it to be, because you can choose to suffer and you can choose to see the suffering in a way that isn't suffering. Like people choose to look at their job as playfulness. And then they don't think about it as, oh, I have to wake up in the morning, I'm obligated, I have to do it because I have to survive in some way, otherwise I don't, I can't eat and I'm thrown into the street and stuff like that. So it's a matter of perspective. That is your free will, and that is your awakening, and that is something that you can do and practice, being an optimistic, seeing the half cup, giving compliments to those you think that do not deserve it instead of judgment and ridicule, Those are the things that you do have control over, okay? And again, the title God Isn't Love is to trigger you into these understandings. So you know that the human journey is about both, and it's okay. You don't have to suffer, but you do have to have some sort of negative emotions that are coming out. Because again, you're a human being, we are a human being. If we wouldn't have that, and wouldn't have our ego, and our mental body, emotional body, and physical body, and spiritual body, and that separation, then we wouldn't have to be here. And this is a place that we stood in line to get the ticket for the best experience that you can have. Trust me, I remember. So, I hope you take even something small from this amazing video. Namaste, my friends, and I will see you in my next video. If you want to check out my workshops, physical workshops, and pretty soon online workshops as well, visit raymaurer.com.